Buongiorno a tutti o buonasera a chi ci ascolterà successivamente. Ringraziamo il Progetto Aletheia che oggi ci dà la grande possibilità di incontrare uno scienziato veramente molto importante che ci parlerà veramente di argomenti molto molto importanti e per l'occasione, visto che sarà un'intervista in lingua inglese, abbiamo chiesto la collaborazione e l'aiuto del nostro amico Finbar Anslow che è qua con noi. Ciao Finbar. E grazie per l'aiuto che ci darai per presentare e introdurre il dottor Korotkov e l'intervista in lingua inglese. Io adesso introduco il dottor Konstantin Korotkov e poi lascio a te il palco e la presentazione.
Ok. Hello, Dr. Korotkov. Thank you so much for being available for this interview today. I'd just like to present, for people who don't know, Dr. Korotkov is an eminent Russian scientist specializing, I believe, in measuring people's auras and with some way of helping them, depending. But I leave it to you, sir, to tell us exactly what field you are specialized in and what are the main discoveries that you have made.
Okay, so as you mentioned, I am a professor, doctor of science, and I'm in science for more than 40 years. So in all my life, I was involved, first of all, in quantum physics, then I transformed to biophysics, then to medicine, and my main goal was to develop some instruments to study human energy field. I don't like the word auras,
Okay.
because this is more connotation to some spiritual topics. No, we study our energy, our biological field from scientific point of view. At the same time, we try to present it in most understandable way for doctors, for practitioners, and for public. So more than, let me see, 30 years ago, in 1995, we produced our first instrument, and it's all based on my patents, my discoveries, and the most important, on our algorithms that have been developed in all this time. So the idea is as follows. We take measurements from all 10 fingers of our hands, and we use very sophisticated electronics, optics, and we apply every finger to electrode to which we apply electrical field, very short impulse of electrical field. So you don't feel anything. You don't feel, because the current is very, very low. And we feel not the voltage, but we feel currents. So in this way, you feel practically nothing, but this allows us to extract electrons and photons from our finger. And we present it as some light around the finger. And then we record this light by sophisticated video cameras. We produce this into computer, and then we make analysis. So the most important, this is not only electronics, but analysis, processing. And this processing based on the holographic principle of our body construction. What does it mean? It means in any part of our body, we can extract all the information about all our functioning. You know, there are iris analysis. When they look to your iris, and they can, by the tiny details in your iris, they can detect a lot of information. There are ear analysis, and on your ears, again, they can extract a lot of analysis. And we are based on fingers, because in all our fingers, in all our toes as well, we have the end points of Chinese meridians. So Our idea from the very beginning was to correlate light that we have from our fingers, from every finger, with different meridians of our body. And it was first idea, and of course it was not our idea, it was first proposed by Dr. Woll in Germany, who created his own method of wall acupuncture. Then it was Dr. Mandel in Germany who developed this, and we developed this further on. We used this principle of meridians and their correlation with fingers, and then we had a lot of clinical trials. So everything that we claim in our software, in our programs, in our conclusions, it is all based on a lot of information that was received in clinical trials in the leading universities. First of all, of course, it was Soviet Union, it was Russia. And we had leading universities of St. Petersburg, Moscow, Novosibirsk, Irkutsk, other cities in Russia. So leading medical universities where top-level professors was studying our technologies, and because first their intention was to prove whether it's real or not. Maybe it's all fake. Maybe it's all doesn't make sense. So first idea was to see whether there are correlations between light that we have from our fingers and different problems of the body. And it was found 80% of correlation. In some cases, of course, it's 90.
Wow.
In some cases, it's even up to 100%, but we claim 80. And it was again proven. So different types of illnesses, different types of problems can be detected with very high precision. But what's even more important, typically people know about their problems. They have some pains, they have some symptoms, so it's easy to detect. But our technology is technology of prevention, of very early detection of your weak zones.
Okay.
Because everybody of us has strong zones, strong parts of our body, and weak zones. And it's all related to genetics, to environment, to the food we eat, to air that we breathe, and of course to many, many different situations. So, and if we have stress, if we have a lot of load from environment, then some weak areas can break down. And in some cases, maybe heart, in some cases, maybe liver, kidney, or some organs for women, different situations. So we can detect this long before appearance of symptoms.
Wow.
So people don't feel anything, don't feel any pain, don't feel any problem, but we can detect, okay, I'm sorry, Teddy, but this is your weak zone.
Okay.
Please go to medical analysis, go to detailed diagnostics. Would it be mammography? Would it be X-ray? Would it be ultrasound? And then in 99% of cases, people find out some real problems. But
Very interesting. Very interesting.
if those problems are detected on very early stage, then you can treat it. Or you can prevent it. You can change the type of your food. You can change the type of your environment. You can do some exercises. And what's much more important, this is level of stress. We live in a very stressful time. If you look to the news, if you watch TV, if you listen to radio, they make us frightened all the time. All the time. It will be this war, that war. Soon it will be war with this country, with that country. You need to hide yourself. You need to prepare your hiding place. Of course, it's all nonsense. But for them, for the governments, it's the way how they control population. But of course, it always makes your stress much higher. Plus, everyday anxiety. We all have problems, all of us.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question,
Yes.
Dr. Korotkov? We have seen, especially in recent times, that it seems that, as you're saying, that politics and economics rule the world. How do you think we can bring more ethics into our lives to have a more positive effect on the planet?
You see, we know that there are positive sides of our life and negative sides. There are people who are positive and there are people who are negative. And we know that for politicians, they don't care about people in no country. They care about their own position, they care about their money, about anything except of people. So it means that we have these two tendencies. We have positive tendency from people and negative tendency from geopolitics. So, of course, you can't change the policy of your government. It's practically impossible. Of course, maybe sometimes people can have a lot of demonstrations, maybe. Maybe in some countries they can influence on their leaders by voting. But it may be done only in some little level. But what we need to do? We need to change life around ourselves. We need to send love and compassion to the people who are around us. We need to send our meditation, positive meditation, to the world. That's this way. It will be like circles on the water. You put a stone and you have circles, but the circles come higher and higher. I don't believe that in short time, in 10, 20, 30 years, it will be possible to finish all the wars, to end with all haters that we have in the world, because geopolitical situation is very complicated. Not only this war between Russia and Ukraine, this war in Israel, this war in Africa, many wars, this war in Syria. You see, it's all turmoil that we have worldwide. And it's impossible to stop it, to finish it in 10 years, 20 or 30 years. I don't believe in this. But what we can do, we can make ourselves and people who are around us relief of stress, relief of anxiety. And we understand how it should be done. We understand the very practical way how it should be done. And with our Bible technology, we are measuring the level of stress. We're measuring this in numbers. And it was published many papers, but many research groups that demonstrate that this is really high correlation with internal physiological stress. So if you see that your stress may be 5 or 6, and we are measuring from 0 to 10, and normal level up to 4. So you need to understand you should do something. You should change your life. You should meditate. You should transform to more positive thinking. You have more compassion in your life, more love, because love is the main cure. Wow. If you have love in your life, then it helps you to live full life.
It's strange to hear this from a scientist, that you need more love in your life.
You see, for me, love is one of the main driving force of life. Because without love, it would be no life. Yes, I understand this.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of us, we are product of love between our parents. All of us, first of all. Second, love is a tremendous power. And it's not just imagination. With our instruments, we have special sensor, named Sputnik sensor, which allows to measure emotions remotely. And we have multiple experiments which demonstrate that people can send their positive intention not just only to other people, but to a sensor. And then sensor responds to this. But what does mean sensor? It's just some technical device. It's some complicated stuff, but it's not, it has no brain, no flesh. But if it is response, what does it mean? It means that by sending our intention, positive intention, we change environment. We change the atmosphere, energy atmosphere around ourselves and around some place. As I've told, it may be done at some distance and it may be done remotely. We have many, many experiments. For example, Lynn McTaggart, you know, this famous and outstanding person from Britain, Lynn McTaggart. She was doing experiments when she was organizing many people by internet, and she gave them picture of our installations of our laboratory, and then at some particular moment they were sending their intentions, positive intentions, to our laboratory from different parts of the world. And we have this instrument turned on several hours before this particular time. Then it was running in totally automatic mode. It was nobody in the laboratory. The room was closed, not to have some influences. And then we had absolutely clear statistical response of this sensor. What does it mean? It means that by positive intentions, people were able to change the atmosphere in the room and make this atmosphere more positive, more beneficial for people, for life.
Excuse me, is this the GDV technology?
Yes, it is GDV. It's
And
scientific name.
Is it purely, so it's not purely diagnostic, it's also curative in some way?
Yes, we have some extra device that is part of this bio, part of the GDV, and this is we name BioCore. I did as follows. We are measuring one of the program. We are measuring position of chakras and the size of chakras, because chakras, those are in Ayurvedic medicine. Those are energy centers of the body. They are related to, I would say, to control centers of our spine, of our autonomic nervous system, vegetative nervous system, so sympathetic, parasympathetic balance. That's why in our programs we are measuring this balance, sympathetic, parasympathetic, and we give this information. But this, of course, information for professionals, for doctors, practitioners. And based on this information, we create individual music. So this is special music, individual for every person. Then we apply this music to little device of this size. And this device produce music, so people have special earphones and sensor. So they apply the sensor nearby their forehead. They have music, and it's like relaxation music, and they have signal. And this is extremely high frequency signal of gigahertz range. A very, very low signal, very low. But this signal influence directly on cells, and it makes harmonizing effect on cells. And as it walks through pituitary gland, then it makes harmonizing to all our endocrine system, and through endocrine system it harmonizes all the body. So this helps us people to reduce stress, to get rid of anxiety, to get rid of insomnia. People sleep better. People don't have their everyday anxiety, don't have this everyday running ideas about what's going on. And we have now hundreds and hundreds of cases because we produce our instruments in big quantities.
Okay.
Now we have about maybe 77,000 or even more instruments operating in the world. We produce in thousands every year, and a lot of people are using this. And a lot of people, more and more people are using this BioCore device.
Are these devices being used in the West or only in Russia?
Not in Russia, practically, but 75 countries on all the continents. Because we have our company in the United States, in Colorado. We have in Spain, in Huesca, in Spain. We have in Estonia. And we produce everything in China, as everybody.
Of course, yes.
So that's why we operate worldwide. We have a network of friends, practitioners, people, representatives in every country practically, because we have our software on maybe 17 or something of these languages. We have our all materials on all these languages. All our video trainings, they are translated to different languages. Now, with, you understand, with AI, it's no big deal to make translation. Yes. Now we have new era of this. We give training, seminars, workshops all the time. So that's why people on different continents, they use it. And what's important, now we work with the latest instrument, Biowell, for 10 years, more than 10 years now. And never, ever we had negative response. Never. That's important. So some people use it more, some less, it's understandable, but nobody told us, oh, it's all nonsense, take it out, because it doesn't make sense. No. All people, all practitioners, doctors, researchers who are using this system, they all are always content. Of course, some more, some less, depending on what people need, but that's for us, it's very important.
I wanted to ask you a question, if I may.
Yes,
you spoke about the chakras. I'm a yoga teacher myself, and we know that there are many different types of yoga and meditation. Some are more valid than others. Have you done any experiments measuring the energy levels of people when they're doing different types of meditation or yoga?
Not doing, but there are hundreds of papers published on this topic. Because big research for many years being done now in the University of Yoga in India, and they publish every year a couple of papers with our instruments. And the president of Yoga Association of United States published a big paper on this topic, because it was absolutely clearly shown that different types of yoga have different effect on people. Of course, people respond differently, but in all cases, this is positive effect, always. And we clearly see this on chakras because they are much more balanced. So if I see people who have this chakra balanced, then I ask, oh, do you meditate? Do you make yoga? And 99% it's yes.
Okay.
Because if people do this on regular basis, then they have these chakras aligned like this. And this is not just only after yoga session. It is, they keep it all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So as a personal question, as a young man, I went to an exhibition in London in, I think, 1977, a long time ago. And there was this machine called Kirlian photography. Is your device somehow connected with this?
Yes. Because you know that my first experiments of this was with Kirlian photography. It was in 1976, 77, just about that time. So, and I was introduced to Simeon Kirlian, because in 1978, we celebrated his 80 years old. It was a big conference in Krasnodar, and I was presenting there something, and we met each other. He was interesting, very interesting person, very unusual person. And so I was very interested in this technology. I've been studying this technology. It was my first PhD in quantum physics was related to the physical effects with this process. But then it was clear for me that Kirlian photography, it is very interesting. It is beautiful, but it's not practical at all. All attempts to introduce it to science, to medicine, it's all failed because it's photography. And in science, we have several rules. First of all, any physical effect should be repeatable. If you are measuring temperature today, tomorrow, after tomorrow, if you are okay, then temperature would be in one and the same range. If it changes, it means some inflammations. Second, any physical effect should be reproducible in other parts of the world, in other laboratories. Only then it will be accepted. That's why people have their Nobel Prizes 20 years after their discoveries. So with Kirlian effect, it was practically impossible because all machines was different, all photographies was different. They was beautiful, but they were totally different. So that is why, for me, it became clear that if we want to make this technology really scientific, really medical, really practical, we need to transform from photography to digital. And I did it in 1990s, when still it was no digital photography practically. It was not practically what was unknown practically. So we was the first. And of course, our computers was very primitive by that time. Modern phone has much more power than computers by that time.
True.
But still, it was possible to create this first instrument, GDV. And then based on this, we start developing, and it was step by step, we move forward. So I would say that the difference between Kirlian photography and our technology, BioWell GDV, is the same as the difference between bicycle and Mercedes.
Okay, that's a good answer.
It's,
Dr. Korotkov, have you done any experiments with measuring energy levels when someone dies? Has anything been done like that to see
Yeah.
if the energy level disappears immediately or does it stay for some time?
You see, yes, it's a very good question, and it's really very important question, because my first experiments was in 1990s when I became interested in this topic, in this question, because I was scholar in religious, scholar in philosophy, and this question whether it is something after death, for me it was very, very important question. So I was able to organize a big research project. It was done in one of our hospitals where we were able to take bodies of people dying just not more than 1-2 hours ago. And we were able to study these bodies for several days, up to 5 days.
Mm.
So it was a group of medical doctors, and they were able to monitor this body every hour, 24 hours per day. So this way, we were able to detect dynamics of energy. Because you know that in forensic study, it's very well known. There are many parameters, physiological parameters, that decay
Yes.
after dying. And this way, this allows these forensic doctors to recalculate the moment of death.
Yeah.
It's very well known. So my idea was as follows. If we have this decaying line of energy, it will be nothing interesting. It would be just waste of time. But maybe we would get something interesting. And it was totally blind experiments. So doctors, of course, they didn't know, they didn't see their results. People who processed later on, they didn't know what that mean. And only later we were able to collect many cases. And it was, I don't remember how many, 30 or 40 cases of different types of deaths. And then when we were able to make relation between the type of death, the reason of and these dynamics, it was found very amazing topics. So first group, it was people who died in normal circumstances. I mean, people who was ready to die.
Yeah.
Because of age, because of illness, and people knew, okay, they are ready to die. And line was very slow, coming down. So it was nothing interesting. Then it was group of people who died instantly. Typically, it's car accident.
Okay.
It may be people on the street who are coming on the street full of energy. They go from the pavement and hit by car and dead. Or car accident when people are driving without any problems. Then car accident. In this case, it was a very interesting situation because it was like a fountain of energy coming from fingers like this for several hours. And then hop, nothing, zero. You see, like this. But of course, the most interesting case, it was the cases of suicide, murder, suffocation, very bad situation, because by that time it was 90s in Russia. It was a lot of gangster wars, and people was very often kill each other. They killed each other on the streets, and they were taken back to this forensic hospital, and we were able to take this. Or people committed suicide, again they were taken there, or it was some people who suffocated in, that they swallowed something, it come to their throat, and then they suffocated. So in all these cases, it was very interesting. Energy was coming up and down, up and down. So it was increase of energy by night, high increase. It was very high peaks for 5 days, and the energy didn't come to ground level. It was still coming up and down. So the situation was that my interpretation, that we were able to detect separation between physical body and between our energies, our spirit, our soul, whatever. And this separation takes time. In calm death, it's very calm separation. In violent death, like in last cases, it is very wild separation, and sometimes soul can't get out from the body. It's impossible. And it is totally in accordance with spiritual traditions, religious traditions of many countries.
Yes.
So that was very interesting. It was a lot of experiments of this kind, and I have a book published on this topic, papers. But now we have new experiments. Together with my colleagues from Canada, from Montreal University, we were able to organize a set of experiments measuring people before death and after death. So we have one lady who is medical assistant, and she supervises people for dying in hospices. And of course, they sign a lot of papers, all agreements from person, from a family. And then she is measuring people every moment, every hour, or every couple of hours, day by day, before death. And then several, maybe 1 or 2 days after death. And what we found? We found that energy, for some time it's coming up and down, then it's coming down slowly. So before this, 1 day or 2 days before, energy is coming down. So it's understandable. People are losing their energy. But in the moment of death, same day or 1 day before, energy jumps up. We have tremendous jump. And then it keeps very high after death. So it was now 4 experiments of this kind. In all cases, we had this, and in the latest experiments, we do even more than that. We are measuring the energy of chakras. And on chakras, we can define whether it is introvert or extrovert. So every chakra has its own connotation. And we found that after death, if people have this extrovert or introvert side, it keeps after death. So again, it's very interesting. Of course, now it is too early to give some interpretations. We presented those experiments at some conferences. We preparing papers for publishing, soon it will be published on this topic. And of course, it may be different interpretations. And as in all cases, like in reincarnation experiments.
In fact, that was my next question. Do you believe in reincarnation? And will people have the same energy field in the next incarnation?
Wait. I do believe in reincarnation. I've been in the United States in the university where they have tremendous research project on this. And I've had discussions, they had their materials, their books. And so I have no doubts in reincarnation, no doubts. Same is in reincarnation memories. You know, that it's very big line of therapy now. So people are transformed to their previous lives in hypnosis, and this helps them to resolve a lot of problems. It is very, very typical now type of therapy. Very well known. And it's real situations. I was impressed by one case. One lady had very strong pain in the back, very strong from time to time. And she was coming to one doctor, another doctor, third doctor. She was trying to find out the reason, but everything was fine. Nobody was able to find any reasons. All analysis was excellent, but still pain was very strong, and from time to time it was coming, and she was suffering. And then she came to this regression therapy. She was introduced in hypnosis in her previous reincarnations, and she's seen herself as a woman in Jerusalem.
Wow.
In the time of Roman invasion in Jerusalem. You know that Romans, they conquered Jerusalem.
Yes. Yeah.
And they killed most of people there. And she was killed by Roman soldier in her back.
Mm.
And she died under hypnosis. And after this, pain was gone. No pain.
Interesting.
Yes, absolutely. So it is many cases of this kind. So that is why I do believe in reincarnation. But of course, I can't see what was the energy field before. Because
yeah, of course.
We can measure it only now in real life, but
that's right.
Impossible for me to measure it before.
Has there ever been anyone whose energy field you could not measure? Have you ever had to experience this?
No, you see, it is as follows, that some people, they can really change their energy field by will. And I have a very good friend, very strong spiritual healer, Christos Drosinakis, from Greece and from Germany. He works in Germany, and he can change his energy field by will. And he can make this energy field disappear, but only by will, by concentration.
Yeah.
In normal life, he is absolutely normal with his normal energy field. But if he wants, who can transform it, and it disappears. So this is happening. That's how it works.
Okay. I have one more question for you. Then, of course, if you have anything more you want to say, we'd be interested to hear it. I think I heard you say in a talk that when a musician performs in public, he loses a lot of energy. Can you explain that a bit more clearly? Because I am a musician myself, so I'm interested in this.
Yes, you see, we had this experience not once with different musicians, with singers, top-level singers, in opera singers. And in all cases, we found that they lose energy after performance. Because we understand that performance is not just doing something. It is real musicians, real singers. They put their soul into their performance. They put all their internal energy in their performance. That's why it's not just physical. It is more emotional. It is spiritual. And that's why we have so tremendous effect when we listen to top-level musicians. Because it's really, we listen not to the sound, we are hearing the sound of their soul. That is why, of course, it takes a lot of energy. At the same time, we found that they can restore their energy very fast after this. After a couple of hours, energy is totally restored. And even more than that, we had very good colleagues and friends, professors in Russia, oncologists, and they did very interesting research. They collected data on the time span of people of different professions. And they collected this data from 17th century, when it was records in Europe, up to last time. And they found that the longest lifespan as musicians.
Wow.
The longest.
Good news. Thank you.
Yes, yes. But of course, classical musicians.
Okay.
Only classical, only classical. Yes, 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 yes. But between them, the longest, those are conductors.
Very interesting.
And it's interesting. It's understandable because conductors, they have wonderful brain, need to remember by heart a lot of musical compositions. And I know top level conductors who are really, they conduct without any notes. Plus, it is movement all the time.
Yes.
It's a physical activity. It's very difficult physical activity in reality. If you try to do it, I tried to make it, but for me it's very difficult. So this is combination, the best combination for longevity: active brain and physical activity. Because we know now from from many studies that if you want to live longer, you need to develop your physical body and you need to develop your brain.
Yeah.
Those two parts. Because if it's only physical body, people can live very long time, but they will be like vegetables. Or if they develop only their brain, then their body will betray them finally. So that's why only when we have harmony between those two parts, we can have not long life. It's not so important to my mind, but healthy life, active life. We need to have wellness. To my mind, longevity depends on many, many factors. So it's not predictable. I don't believe that it's possible to live to 200 years. I don't believe in this. But we know that 120, that's possible. We need to understand, do you need it? Do you really need it? And even more important, in which condition you will do it.
Yes. Yes. Very true.
Whether you will be active, energetic, and you will enjoy your life to the full extent, and then you lay down, you sleep, and then goodbye.
Professor Korotkov, what do you see as the future for GDV technology? What do you predict? How will it develop, or will it continue to develop?
You see, now this year we produce several new instruments. So we produce our Bible, and I am sure that Bible will be more and more active between people, more and more practitioners, more and more doctors will use it because it's really a very sensitive tool. And we have a lot of confirmation from different research groups that it's very, very precise analysis, very precise. And as I've told, it's early diagnostics. Now we are using artificial intelligence, which makes us not only to make conclusions, but to make recommendations. And we have these programs now with artificial intelligence. At the same time, we produce now another instrument, Bival element, which allows to make analysis of different substances. It may be water, liquids, gels, oils, it may be leaves, stones, gemstones. It may be dogs, cats, so many, many different topics. And again, it's very sensitive research tool. For example, only this tool now allows to see structured waters. And this is one of my new projects to make structured water, to produce it. And we use this tool to detect this structure in the water. And we see these images very similar to what Masaru Emoto was doing with these crystals, ice crystals, but our technology is much more simpler. It's just minutes to get image. So that's another line. Next line, those are device which we will start producing for people. We name it Bival Mini. It is of this size. It runs on a mobile phone and it allows people to detect their level of stress, their level of energy, their chakras, to see effect of different exercises, meditation, food, environment, electromagnetic fields, whatever. So this is home device. Same as many people now use different home outlets, and it's very popular and very, very useful, very helpful. Same, I believe, people will be using our energy measurement. because it gives you a lot of information about your everyday life, about your activity, about your attitude to everything. And of course, it would detect you, allows you to detect your any problems. Because if you have some practitioner who is using Bible professional instrument, then you can send your own measurement from your mobile device
Yeah.
to your practitioner, and then they will detect physical problems.
Yeah, good.
So that's our new project, and we start this producing this device this year in June. So that's, I believe it will be next level and next level of development.
Dr. Korotkov, it's been really, really interesting. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about?
You see, yes, I want to tell that from all our experiences, from all our experiments, from 18 books which I published and hundreds of papers that we have, it is absolutely clear. Everything depends on ourselves. Everything. If we want to be strong, healthy, if we want to live full life, we need to depend on our mind only. We don't need to think that someone will help you. No, nobody would help you, only yourself. So only with your intention, with your mind, with your spirit, you can change your life and life of people around yourself. And we have many information of this. And Bible is the way how we can really see this in real activity. So for me, it is very important topic that people need to understand and need to remember. If we believe in this, then we can make our life full, powerful, and healthy.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your, it's very, very fascinating what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure for me. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you.